Here we go, round 5 of Pro Tour Dragon Spades. I'm Rashad Miller. I'm here with Brian David Marshall, and we are watching yet another battle of the countrymen. We have Andre Muller on the left, and he's playing against Kai Budde on the right, which, you know, the juggernaut of his country.
I mean, just to give you an idea, this is someone who's played, Kai Budde has played in 48 Pro Tours. He's top-8'd 10 times. He's won 7 of them.
And we have gotten aggressive over from Andre Muller. He already has a Rakdos Cackler and a Dryad Militant.
But he's being held at bay by a precinct captain from Kai Budde.
We saw this card in a lot of the sideboards of some of the control decks, but it looks like a main deck one gets the job done just as well.
Yeah, so this is a Esper Control deck that's biased a little bit more against some of the aggro decks that are out there. You know,
pre-boarded, as you might say.
Yeah. Yeah, we see that he's got the precinct captain. He's also got the Blood Baron of Escopa. I'm taking a look, seeing how many lands he's playing in this deck.
All right, so precinct captain gets in for 2 damage, which makes a 1/1 soldier token. So we get in a couple of damage, and we leave something back to stop that Dryad Militant.
Yes.
Rakdos Cackler gets in for 2. That's going to drop Kai Budde down to 14. And this is a Varal's, the Scarred Striped.
So now this lets him...
it gives all the creatures in his graveyard scavenge equals to its casting cost, which is very good with Dryad Militant because you get 2 counters for just a green or a white.
Right. Let's take a look at what's going on in the hands of the players. We see a Vraska the Unseen and a Dryad Militant for Andre Muller.
Wait, where are the rest of his cards? They're out there. They're in
They've
play.
been mulliganed and played to the board. And then Kai Budde, I mean, shades of Paulo Vitor Damarosa here.
It looks really similar.
Sure. Aetherling, Far and Away, Sphinx's Revelation, Supreme Verdict, and Plain. 2 cards that are so broken, they break the hand viewer.
That they do. At least for a while. Usually when I'm on the hand viewer, I just take a moment, catch my breath, and just wait for the discard. And then I start typing in.
Oh, I was just talking about the typography on Aetherling.
Oh, you mean Aetherling. Oh, okay. Oh, man, it doesn't even show away. Only Far, that's it. He doesn't have a way. So we are...
There you get a look at Varal's, the Scar Striped. There are no creature cards in his graveyard as of yet.
This is going to be yet another match where we're not going to be able to enjoy what the players are talking about. So all of you German-speaking listeners and watchers, feel free to translate on Twitter at GG's Live. Or at Top 8 Games.
Simon Gertzen, we're looking at you.
A lot of thought going into.
Again, no change in the hand for Andre Muller.
So the chump block happens. So Kai's going to go down to 12 from that attack. Down to 10. He's at 12. He's going down to 10. And here is a Supreme Verdict. And
regenerate the Varal's the Star Stripe twice.
Yeah, a couple of regenerations, because why not? So now that's going to give Andre Muller access to 3 scavenge counters for 2 mana.
Yeah, the Dryad Militant's pretty sweet here. Another regeneration spell.
I also believe that, is that Andre Muller's graveyard or removed or exiled zone? Because I think some cards should be exiled from the Dryad Militant being in play. I think there's a sorcery.
Okay, well he puts 1 counter.
Yeah, so 1 counter from the scavenge from the...
Scavenges the Rakdos Cackler.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the bottom card of Muller's graveyard is, but it must be a creature because it's in the graveyard and not removed from game.
There you go. I believe I can have enough German to go, your verdict is removed too.
Looks like a Sin Collector was drawn for Kai.
Du hast eine, oder was?
Handkarte? Klar, du 1000?
Ja.
Alles Sphinx Stabilization?
6 Stück. Fast.
I think you said
Ach so,
one
6.
card,
Nein,
though.
das ist eins. Du hast vollkommen recht.
That one card.
You got one card?
Vraska the Unseen.
Well, I mean, if you play Sin Collector, you'll get to see it. You
Kai's
get it? Unseen.
Yeah, I got it.
You're not laughing, so I don't think you got it.
I'm laughing on the inside, Rashad.
Thanks.
Laughing in here.
I see. I can see it now.
So, Kai Budde trying to figure his way out of this with a Sin Collector, an Aetherling, a Far and Away, a Sphinx's Revelation, and a Supreme Verdict. The Supreme Verdict is not the answer.
Right. Supreme Verdict only gets rid of 2 of those creatures, and those creatures still get, there's still value when those creatures go to the graveyard because Varal's just going to get bigger.
Extrem traurig für mich.
So schlimm ist es noch nicht.
And if he draws another green source, he can actually represent lethal on that Varl's next turn.
Exactly. And Kai only has 1 blue source, so there's some cards that he just can't play that are in his hand.
Ich mag Kai.
Like Aetherling, it's not going to be an option.
Machen wir noch eine.
Sphinx's Revelation, not an option.
Auf diesen Man, gell? Okay, cool.
So, yep.
So it looks like Supreme Verdict it is to get rid of 2 creatures, and
Ist auf 5.
Und du bist.
Can I play a Watery Grave up to represent Azorius Charm?
well, he also has Far, so he can use
Okay, yeah.
Far to bounce the Varals, which is what's happening.
Dann bist du.
So now it's not looking too bad for Kai. Kai's at 5. Kai, I mean, 5's a pretty low life total, but this green black deck doesn't have a lot of reach in the form of direct damage to its its opponent.
Right.
It has,
There are no burn spells in there.
right. There might be access to Dreg Manglers for as a hasty creature.
So Eric Froelich attempted a Jace Architect of Thought on the back table, but it was captured by the Plasm.
+4 mana of any color
Yes.
next turn. I think we need to find out what we're using that mana for. Hopefully Sheldon can give us that.
Oh, he just untapped and casually played an Aetherling.
Casual Aetherling. A lot of blue left
Casually
up.
Aetherling, lots of blue mana. Yeah, that's
So
whatever.
Vraska the Unseen finally shows her face. Maybe. I don't know what she does.
Don't look at the face.
Don't look at not the face.
Dann mach ich noch
There's
was.
Dreg Mangler.
Und dann bist du.
Dann Revelation für 5.
Ja, bist du auf
Oh no, I'm sorry, that's a Varl's, the Scar Striped.
Yep. And in response, I don't know if it's in response, but a Revelations for 5 is happening. That's bring Kai up to 10, but more importantly, bring his card count up to 6. Kai has amongst all of his cards a Devourer Flesh.
Right, he started with just a Sin Collector. Let's take a look at what Andre has. He's got a Deadbridge Goliath.
But not a second green.
Nope. And Aetherling takes game 1.
As it does.
Yeah.
Dann Opfer noch
Turn 5 Aetherling with mana up.
So 20.
Ah ja, richtig. Cool. N1, N1.
Detention Sphere.
Ja. Hast du
Vraska's
geknappt.
been a bad girl.
So,
4?
And there's Jace, Architect of Thought.
was
Ah,
a-
ja.
that was a big turn.
That was a big turn.
Glaube ich.
That's what Sphinx's Revelation
genauso
does. It
gespielt,
sets
sagen wir
up
so.
big turns.
Tue ich mal 5.
It looks like we're the +1
Genau.
on Jace. Interesting.
Du bist.
there's a lot less troll.
So it's Kai. Is his plan to go the long game and the ultimate? The
Dann tun wir den mal runter.
Ja.
Nope.
I guess not. 2 Sin Collectors and a Plains.
Land gegen Sin Collector.
Nee, Land gegen Sin-Kollektor, Sin-Kollektor.
So
So sieht's aus. Nimm doch den.
Translation: land or
Sinnlos-Kollektor.
Sin Collector, Sin Collector.
Klar, macht gar nichts. Unspektakulär ohne Ende jetzt diese Duels.
Looks like a second Detention Sphere is going to come down and exile the lot lift troll.
Jo. Dann gucke ich mal an, was da ist, aber es wird wohl kaum ein Instant sein.
Was wird's denn sein?
Ein Swamp, schätze ich mal.
Nein, ist das natürlich der Goliath.
So Sin's
So
collector, and he
it's
shows him the Debris Bridge
Ähm,
Goliath. So it's like, no, no sins here.
Ja.
Sin Collector
Oh, ein
beatdown.
Goliath.
Sometimes you just need a 2-1 for 3.
Guys, like I'm getting a little older. My memory's not what it used to be. What was in your hand again?
Das ist nur so wie Barholz.
Oh, das ist schon ein bisschen besser als reguliert.
And there is the Scar Striped.
Another
Aber Krempel
Vorals.
zum Glück nicht.
Ist leider wahr, aber er ist 3-3.
Ja.
Scavenge Arachnos Calcular. That's going to make it a 3-3, which can block a Sin Collector.
Dann gucken wir mal nach.
Jo.
Another -2 from Jace Architect, I thought.
Klappt ja super.
And there's 3 land.
Das geht ja in die Vollen.
Do you just split the dual lands,
I
and
mean,
then you
who knows what
you-
Andre will do?
3-0 maybe? Can you 3-0 with this card?
Kannst du deinen Länder nicht besser sortieren, Kai? UW hast du am wenigsten, ne? Hier, das ist das stärkste Land.
Sounds like Matthias Zadelkai is up 1
So
game
sagen
to
können,
0.
nö, hau
Over
ab.
Jean-Luc Smana?
Okay.
Yes.
Natürlich.
2 lands for Kai.
Content to stay back.
He's got a 3rd Sin Collector waiting in the wings.
Just saving it just in case.
Yeah.
So Experiment 1 is what Andre drew. Doesn't really do much to this board state. I mean, do you just put it out there
It gives him- it
because you
gives him
need
a
to block?
It gives him a creature that also regenerates.
Das ist Jason.
I guess that is true. You have the ability to scavenge counters onto it to shortcut the evolution of the Experiment 1.
Block.
So Val rolls,
Dann bist du.
attacks, and it gets blocked by Sin Collector. And pass of the turn.
Dann ticken wir mal Jason.
Sicherlich.
So Kai wants to use his Jace Architect for at least another
Mal
turn.
deinen
Den
Kopf.
Goliath an, ja, ja, hast du geschafft.
Still got this Goliath.
Die Jace ist geplust. Ziemlich gut alles.
Still no forest, but another
Wow.
lot lift troll.
Den Barholz an.
Kai's hand is just all land right now.
Dann hauen die beide deinen Jace.
So Scavenge puts
The
2
virus
+1/+1
yeah,
counters
yeah,
on the Experiment 1. So we
Yeah,
got a couple
you
of
don't
3/3s.
just have to scavenge onto the Varls. It's just
No, it's
your
just-
creatures have scavenge.
Dann
So
bist
now Kai has to chump block each.
Okay. He draws a syncopate.
A very late syncopate. So let's see what Jace my
Irgendwann muss er nur
Architect
eine
of Thought
Relation kommen,
can get for him. It looks like
Far away
a
ist auch gut,
verdict,
ne?
a far away,
Kai.
and a Sin Collector.
So sieht's aus. Du hast 4 Sin Collector im Main?
Ja.
Nicht schlecht. Ja.
He takes the far and away over the 2 pile with Sin Collector and
The 2 pile with 2 regenerators?
yeah.
Yeah, Supreme Verdict, not very good right now. It still kills 1 creature, but far away gets them both out of there.
So bounce your Experiment 1 and you
Sacrifice the Varals. That Varals is pretty pesky.
yeah.
And it's good that, you know, it's in the graveyard now. Still no forest. I don't know how much of an impact Debris Goliath is on this board. If he were to ever draw a forest sometime soon, do you think it's a relevant play?
I mean, Kai's at 10. He just has to hit him twice.
I mean, just about any guy can hit for 5.
Ich abrupt decay auf dieses Pferd.
So it looks like
Oh, we got an Abrupt Decay on
Mach ich noch mehr abrupt
a
decay.
Detention Sphere.
Yeah.
And then
Dann bist du.
then Vraska destroys the other Detention Sphere
give
and
me
gets
all my
Lot of
stuff
Troll
back.
back.
Give it all back. That's what we call chain reaction magic.
Das lässt sich alles ausgezeichnet.
Off one of the back tables, we have another update. Yuri Peleg is up 1-0 over Pat Failing. Thought you
Okay.
wanted to know.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Uri Peleg, of course, a
Was alles
former
gemacht,
world
außer
champion.
Relation.
He is. Beat
So,
Patrick Chapin in the final
mir
of
fehlt da noch ein bisschen
Worlds
was an mir.
2007.
Ich
2007.
habe auch Kreaturen im Deck. Die mehr als 2
Stimmt,
sind.
Blutbaron, nicht heute.
Blutbaron, Obsidian,
Ach, Opzit hat auch noch.
Ätherling.
Kai, was du nicht alles zockst.
Ja, das glaubt man nicht, ne?
Man glaubt's echt nicht. Dann ist noch ein bisschen Vita mit diesem.
So Andre built up a nice little hand here. It's just full of cards that he can only play one of because of his only one green source. But he did pick up an Overgrown Tomb, so I'm curious if he really wants to play that untap to get multiple threats on the board. So Experiment 1 is on the stack. Looks like he's testing the waters.
Also die habe ich jetzt gerade gezogen.
Not yet playing that forest, well, in the form of Overgrown Tomb.
Syncopate your Experiment 1.
Syncopate for this
Okay,
much.
Experiment 1 ist K.O. ich sehe ein.
Ist gecountet.
Man kann jetzt noch 2, ne?
Jo.
Mach ich das auf Raska Plus, bevor ich das vergesse?
Jo.
Spiel noch so einen
So
Overgrown
Vraska
Tomb, aus. Ich hab
plus
18
1 ability.
Und noch
Not
einen
exactly
Troll.
relevant, but it does plus 1. So Overgrown Tomb comes down, untapped, pays 2 life, and there's a Lot Lift Troll.
Und
Again, creatures that can regenerate.
Yes. I sense a theme here.
Yeah?
I know we were talking a little bit about things like Boros Charm and Rootborn defenses to deal with Supreme Verdicts, but sometimes you could just
Jetzt so vom Drag
play all regenerating creatures and just be fine.
Here comes a Dreg Mangler.
Regenerators and scavengers like Dreg Mangler.
Dann greife ich damit ein.
Kai rearranges his land, but he's just got more of same in hand.
Ja.
wie kann das sein?
That's it, attack for 8. That's
Yep.
exactly
Weil
8
die müssen noch 3
with the
Länder
pump and the Lot Lift
Ah,
Troll.
krass, ist das ein Scherz?
So
Der Rest des Decks ist
Muller's
immer
up
Engel, Blood,
1
Days.
game to 0 over Budde.
Das habe ich noch nie gesehen.
Yeah, that Muller's
Dreimal
deck
Defensive,
seems
dreimal noch nichts.
well positioned against the Esper
Das habe ich
Control
auch noch nie
deck.
gesehen.
Definitely.
Gespielt,
Being
würde ich
able to
sagen.
survive
Das
multiple
sind
Supreme
Defensive.
Verdicts, because there were 3 cast that game and it just didn't phase him.
Yeah, yeah,
So
each
there
one.
we
And in fact, we even saw Kai had an option to take Far and Away or take Sin Collector and Supreme Verdict.
And the Supreme Verdict
He's
just
just like-
wasn't
he's just
even.
Man weiß es nie, ja.
No.
Put those 2 cards under. I'm taking Far and Away. I mean, Far and
Yeah.
Away was obviously awesome
Yeah,
from there.
also a testament to how good Far and Away is.
Yeah.
We'd like to thank Gaming Etc. for being an official card retailer here at Pro Tour Dragon's Maze. Use the promo code PTSAN when ordering on gamingexcetera.com to earn 10% off all singles and accessories. For more information, visit gamingexcetera.com.
Yeah, I mean, we were looking at the cards coming into this format. You know, obviously, Varl's the Scar Striped has been pretty impressive, but I think I wasn't fully appreciating the regeneration ability on Lot Lift Troll. It's just
On a lot of the creatures, including Lot Lift Troll.
Yeah.
Lot Lift Troll, you know, as trolls do, regenerate. And just the ability to put creatures into your graveyard while gaining, not until in the turn +1/+1, but counters on that. It just gets out of hand.
and by the way, an interesting ability on there is Trample. So you know,
Relevant,
yeah,
yes,
very relevant.
very.
I mean, think about a situation where you're just trying to stay alive. You're like, I have to block with my Aetherling, and you know, maybe, you know, blink it out, or your tap. Well, it's gonna just trample over. You know, you can't
It definitely makes it a more devastating.
You know, or
threat.
those Sin Collectors, which were just trying to get in the way of stuff. That's not going to be very.
Yeah, interesting. It
useful.
used to be lifelink instead. So I guess they decided that instead of this troll, you know, helping you survive, it should just try to get your opponents dead.
Yeah, and you know, they talk about it being it's a threat that also is a discard outlet. I'm wondering if we'd see something like an Obsidat's Aid get in play. I haven't seen any Obsidat's Aid yet. Looking around, but
Not yet, but you know, the interesting thing about Obstinate Aid is that it can return any permanent, which, you know, you could use it as a reanimation spell for the creatures that you discard to Lot Lift Troll, which is, I mean, that seems cool.
personally, I'd like to just Desperate Ravings away in Omniscience and
And
Obsidat's Aid
then
that
get
back.
the party started.
Yeah.
We
That's
call that the party starter. Here we get a look at Kai going through a sideboard. They're on the same team, so they've had to have tested this matchup.
Quest von mir selber, wie ich das
Sure.
And it sounds like they're talking about the
davor
matchup
gewesen,
too.
um sie einfach einzuschieben, oder?
Ja, aber wir spielen ja nicht Kindergarten.
Ja gut, aber ich meine, es ist ernsthaft.
So let's say you are
Ja, klar.
Ich meine,
Kai.
Wort komplett
That
kontrolliert.
game wasn't very. You know what? It was a close game.
wie das so
You
geht,
didn't
aber
lose by
klar,
that
sie hat
much.
einmal-
Naja, nee, also Ich dachte schon
Right.
so, dass wenn eines
What
Tages
type of
sich
tweaks are you
dieses
making
Zerstör,
if
wo
you're
die Frostball
Kai
drin ist,
to
dass dann
your
der so
deck
okay
after
ist, weil dann die
game one?
Frostball wenigstens wieder am Start ist und du die halt angreifen
It wasn't, I
musst.
mean, the only reason, I mean, the big factor there was that most of the creatures regenerated.
Right. We've seen people bringing in Blood Baron quite a bit. Obsidian Ghost Council, maybe just like looking to be a little more creature oriented.
Mm-hmm.
Mit Chancellor Deck hättest du sowieso gar keine Chance gehabt.
You know, the Precinct Captain seemed quite interesting too.
Das habe ich nicht gemeint.
Now, we were talking a little bit about
How about a
re-
Woodlock Crawler?
That seems interesting. It's, I mean, it slowly and steadily gets the job done.
And it has protection from green.
I mean, that was a job. I guess as a blocker, that's definitely an option. Doesn't really do a good job against the trample that some of the
Sure,
creatures have,
sure.
but you know, it's still a speed bump that has to get, you know, dealt with. But we were talking a little bit about reach, which is the ability to finish off a game after, you know, your initial flourish of threats, you know, are either halted or dealt with, and therefore Deathrite Shaman and Andre Muller's sideboard. Is this the matchup that they come in against? If you're playing against Kai, do you think Kai doesn't value his supreme verdicts as much? Maybe takes out one or two, and this is your chance to sneak in a Deathrite
Yeah,
Shaman
possibly.
and deal, you know, 2, 4, 6 damage.
Sure. I mean, yeah, Kai could go for just more spot removal and creatures of his own and try to really dominate on the ground.
Right, because I mean, Far Away is doing far and away a great job at dealing with the regeneration and the other abilities that these creatures are having that are making them just hard to deal with supreme verdicts. You know, that being said, when you're a white-based control deck, it feels pretty weird to take out supreme verdicts. So, I mean, do you just run with them and just
mean-
hope for the best?
You know, we talk about the Supreme Verdict being ineffective, but I mean, it did just
It did?
remove 2 creatures
Yeah,
each time.
I mean-
you did get 2 for 1 out
Yeah,
of it.
a 2-for-1 is basically what you'd love for your supreme verdicts to be. But unfortunately, all those creatures that went to Andre Muller's graveyard just came back in the form as +1/+1 counters on the Volras that was still in play.
Right. There we see, it looks like Warp Physique came in from the sideboard.
That's a great answer for regenerators.
Yeah.
Experiment 1.
All right, so here we go. And there is an Experiment 1. Now, we've seen a lot of decks in other formats really take advantage of Experiment 1 by putting multiple threats out on turn 2 and or 3. Let's see. I'm not sure if this deck can be as explosive with this card, but it's still going to be a steady stream of damage. As we see in there is a Deathrite Shaman.
Still capable of evolving it.
It's still it. I mean, now Experiment 1 only evolved once from that exchange, so the Precinct Captain is still doing his job. Looks like we're coming in for attack. That's going to bring Andre Muller down to 18, so we're going to be tied at 18 apiece. That's going to put a 1/1 soldier token into play. And here is a second Precinct Captain.
You hear a little groan from Andre Muller.
This is exactly how you want to start off the game if you're Kai. This is what you want to see. You want your opponent to not attack you
And not block you.
and not block you.
Yeah, that is a formula. That is a formula for success. Andre, by the way, is stuck. And not play land
Yeah.
because Andre Muller is stuck on 2 lands.
So right now, Kai Budde is the only person playing Magic right
Yeah,
now.
he's, you know, dumping creatures out.
And you know, 2 mana isn't.
Uns geht's hier schlechter.
That's not a low amount for, you know, a deck like Andre that has a really low curve.
Yeah, let's take a look at what cards Andre is scuffling on here. He's
I
got
see.
a
That's
pair
how
of
long
Dreg
the game's gonna
Manglers.
take, right?
He's got a
That's what you
Varals to Scar Striped and 2 Deadbridge Goliaths in his hand.
So he really needs not only one, he needs a couple of land to actually get going.
think they
Although a
named
couple of
down
Dreg
some people
Manglers,
with
that's
knives
got to, they're big enough to fight through the Precinct Captains or at least hold them back.
Like in the TV show, the evil guys is the Kaiba Corporation. Okay. And I was always wondering if they're like Kai B and then they add a vowel so they can pronounce it, you know?
Du bist mal dran.
And boss.
Andre Muller say end boss.
I guess.
So still no land. Not sure what it was when he picked up, but it will be, looks like a second Volras.
Dann block ich doch mal mit den 3.
Den? Ja, krieg ich 2.
Die wachsen aber nach.
Ah, ich
So
weiß.
Kai just puts all 3 tokens in front of
The
the Experiment 1. 1 token lives.
Yep, and Experiment 1 goes to the graveyard. draw from Kai.
Dann bin ich auf 8.
And with Priest and Captains, those guys aren't getting blocked. And this steady stream of tokens.
Blutbaron Kai.
That's what I like to call the confidence stream. Where you just have tokens coming from nowhere, just keeping you so far ahead in the game.
Ist halt dringend notwendig gegen einen Breakdown, ey.
So Andre decides to gain a little life here.
Oh, ein Land.
Siehst du mal.
Sometimes you just want to feel like you're doing something in the game.
Dein Geist geplust.
Mein Geist.
So there's a third land for Andre Muller. So is it Dreg Mangler? Is it Varals?
Nichtsdestotrotz
It's probably a drink
trotzdem
maker
erstmal
here.
in deinen Jagd zu angreifen, oder?
Lets him hold back the
Da, hier. Auf Jace.
precinct
Ja, ja,
captains.
ja.
Yep.
Yep, so attack, we're going to trade with some more tokens. Keep those from getting out of hand. And there's a Dreg Mangler post-combat because it's not going to attack. It's there to be a wall.
Right. Remember he pumped up the Jace Architect of Thought, so Andre's creatures all get -1, -0 when
Yeah.
they attack.
And we saw the Rakdos Calculator get in there
Das ist
because
geminus.
it can't block.
Das ist geminus, der Geminus.
Sei froh, dass nicht
Plus Karten.
zurückgeführt und
Plus Karten in meiner
Plus Karten.
All right, so there's
Yeah.
a activation from Jace Architect of Thought, and we see a
So
detention
ist nice.
sphere
Choose it.
and a couple of land.
So.
And Andre tries the
Three-pile?
yeah, the infamous 3-pile.
Ja?
Guys,
was für
just
ein
like-
gieriger Hund.
Oh,
Hast du noch eine Sphäre auf deiner
I'm
Hand?
a little surprised too, Andre.
Oh, Kai,
He's
du
like,
bist so
oh
ein
man,
guter
your
Player.
hand must be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Like, I already have a detention sphere, as you can see right now.
The control deck doesn't take the spell and just takes the 2 lands.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
you know you're in trouble.
And we can see that,
And not that good, but not that bad either.
Sphäre den mal.
okay, it sounds like 2 Etherlings from Eric Froelich
Are better than one,
we're able to defeat the Great One in game 2.
so they're going to game 3, and not sure if we're going to be able to get back to that one, because this is definitely going to go to the
Yeah,
game.
this
It
is
looks like
looking
it's gonna go to
very
game
much
3.
like it's going to the full 3.
Yeah, because right now, Kai's just attacking. He's just attacking for damage. He's, you know, tokens are getting thrown into the wind and dying to Deathrise Shaman. But Andre still has 3 mana, and he still has a bunch of 3-drops that he can play. He still has a Dreg Mangler, and he has a couple of Varals. Picked up a Gerard. Of course, that costs 4.
The Lich Lord.
The Lich Lord.
He's capable. That guy's capable of fireballing a game out.
That's reach.
Yeah.
That guy is definitely reach.
That guy is a fireballer.
Ja, hab ich dann
Just
verloren.
gonna show him all the detention spheres he has. He's like, you don't have creatures. I'm gonna attack you.
Wow.
Detention sphere.
Precinct Captain was the all-star.
I feel like even if Andre curved out, I don't know if he would have been able to come back from, you know, double precinct captain, because he wouldn't have been able to attack. So we're gonna see a game 3 as Andre Miller ties it up one apiece.
Dann muss ich auch nichts mehr machen.
Der draus hat echt schwer für dich zu schlagen wahrscheinlich.
Ja, mit Kapitän on the play.
Und dann Removal noch dabei halt. Also,
Show the world you watch the Pro Tour coverage with the Eyes on the Prize achievement. Just log on to planeswalkerpoints.com and enter the redemption code Maze Runner to earn your reward. What do you think the reward is?
I don't know. Perhaps it's a copy of Eyes in the Skies.
Which is almost like Voice of Resurgence.
Yeah.
See, it's all coming together.
Natürlich den Dreckmangler doch schon auf der Hand.
I was hoping there were, you know, oatmeal raisin
Was denn
cookies.
sonst?
What about peach rays? Oatmeal peach cookies.
You keep saying that like it's a thing.
It is a thing. I make
Okay,
them.
all right. You know what? I'm willing to
Oder hab ich dir nicht erzählt? Wie er
entertain
auf die Welt?
that notion.
Das ist für WhatsApp?
A little bit of vanilla.
Nah, man. Okay, I'm in
All right.
that. Nah, man. So these guys are just having fun, and Andre's always having fun.
And yeah, and Kai Budde has historically been the life of the party.
You know what? He never looks like he's having fun,
No,
but
he
he's
does.
actually the nicest guy in the world.
I
When you go up and
love
talk
it.
to him, he's super stoic, but if you just go up there and talk to him, and he's just like he can't hold the stoic smile.
Go team coverage. Matej Zadelkai. He wins his match 2-0 over Spano.
Yeah, Gianluca Spano,
Hast schon fertig
a name that gave me a lot of trouble during the last Pro Tour, but now I think I got it under control.
Yeah, okay, good.
Thanks. I thought you'd be proud.
I am.
I said thanks. So did we get Simon Gertzen to tweet some translations for us?
No, I haven't looked yet.
Also schon recht even, glaub
He's
ich.
slipping.
Ja, so nach dem Zeitpunkt.
Ich glaube, ich habe so 60.
Well, I guess it might be, yeah, he's either slipping or sleeping.
He's not sleeping.
He's not
People are
sleeping.
playing Magic. He's not sleeping.
Gerade wenn ich anfange, hast du
Good
bestimmt
point.
keine 60%. Da willst du ja wohl Dog sein.
So,
auf
ja,
einmal.
wenn du anfängst und... Aber ich meine, du musst auch mit
Simon Gertchen, of course,
erst mal sehen, ob du das schaffst.
winner of Pro Tour San Diego.
He is the winner of, was that the last Pro Tour San Diego, or was the team event the last Pro Tour San Diego?
No, that was the last Pro Tour San
Okay,
Diego.
but the team event was also here.
That was also here, yeah.
Keep vielleicht einfach alles und das ist es. Dann habe ich dich immer gefragt, so, was du so keepst. Und du so, ja klar, alles, das ja, da ist.
Meine Range ist sehr groß mittlerweile. Also, früher war sie noch ein bisschen größer. Heutzutage ist sie, glaube ich, sogar ein bisschen kleiner.
I think Andre Mueller is much less funny in German.
Magic ist einfach... Du musst einfach immer so gut draus haben.
He usually cracks me up.
He's pretty funny. I mean, I don't know what he's saying, but I'm kind of chuckling.
Okay.
Just by how he's saying it. I know it's got to be something funny. And you really can't tell by how, Kai
Also
reacts,
den Kai.
because, he's the real Solemn Simulacrum,
Hier,
Ja.
OTP.
Die Schalke morgen auch halt.
but not the
Ah,
actual
Champions League
Solemn
gegen Freiburg, ne?
Simulacrum.
Da geht um alles.
Die haben auch Entscheidungsspiel.
Oh.
Yeah, look at a couple of Angel of Serenities in Kai's opening hand.
So we have 2 land, but no swamps. Looks like we're going to go with it.
And
Starts off with the Deathrite Shaman. And while this match is just getting going, looks like we have a result. Yuri Pelik wins 2-0 over Pat Failing.
there you get a look at Deathrite Shaman. And let's see what other cards Andre Mueller has to work with here.
Well, he definitely drew a swamp. I don't remember seeing that in his open. So he was able to play the Lot Lift Troll.
And he's got he's got Dregmangler, Varels, the Scar Stripe, and Dead Bridge Goliath.
Okay, so he did have the swamp. I thought he had
And
2
an Abrupt
forests.
Decay.
So he had 2 land in his hand. One was a swamp and the other was a forest.
And what cards is Kai going to try to counter that hand with? You see a bit of a top-heavy selection of cards here.
Yeah, but he does have the Pro Green that's
Right,
blocking
the Woodlock
Lot Lift Troll,
Crawler.
which, yeah, but it doesn't block it very well. We were just talking about the trample. It
absorbs a point.
Yeah, it's only absorbing 1 point because Andre Miller put a counter on his Lot Lift Troll by discarding a Dead Bridge Goliath, which is kind of where it deserves to be, in the graveyard, but it'll be back in one way or another.
Epic.
Third land for Andre.
This will be Dregmangler.
Or Barals.
Hier.
Dretmangler, yeah.
Ist gut? Jo, ne? Ist gut. Okay, dann Spot.
Attack with both.
So obviously the Dretmangler is going to get blocked. That seems like the most effective block.
As opposed to blocking the troll,
Yeah.
having it trample over for most of its damage, and not blocking the Dregmangler. Oh, but
Jetzt kann man noch ein bisschen rein, würde ich sagen.
This does force a discard.
Dog.
Oh no, it doesn't, because there's only 1 counter on it, so it forces a discard.
yeah.
Maybe that's more valuable to in Kai Buddha's mind, getting a card out of his hand.
Well, when we look at Kai's hand, we see that he is making Andre Mueller play into far.
But not away.
Yeah.
Dann kriegst du natürlich nur 3 Schaden. Das ist auf 12. Da bist du.
That's going to bring Kai down to 12. Here's a 4th mana. It looks like Jace Architect starts going to come down. And are we going to see the +1 ability?
Yeah, I think we
Ich
are.
glaube, der zieht auf 2 Karten.
Klar.
No, he decides he's going to draw
So.
cards.
Oh, so get that guy so far off. 2 land and something.
Kai really wants those lands.
He's got to want the
The Blood Baron?
Yeah, the Blood Baron of Iskapa also. But he takes the land.
Wände sind auch gute Hände sein lassen.
With a sigh.
I'll advance my board state instead.
Andre Mueller being stymied by the Woodlock Crawler.
Jetzt, ne?
Definitely now he is.
Vidalian Merfolk revisited.
It was too good, so we had to get rid of
Yeah.
1 point of toughness.
Hey, was that what it was? Was it Medallion Merfolk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sicher nochmal diesen Troll ausspielen.
2 mana, and Lotleth Troll returns, and there's a Overgrown Tomb. Untapped, just to leave up regeneration mana,
So.
and also to threaten an Abrupt Decay.
Yep.
Aber KB.
Willst du nicht?
Ja, gut. Ja. Reicht mir.
There's another Jace Architect of Thought, so
Cash it in, play another.
that's an option. Looks like he's definitely cashing it in.
Ja.
Sphinx's Revelation, Warped Physique, and Sphinx's Revelation.
Ooh, what do I get with my Sphinx? He's like, you can have 2 Sphinx's Revelations.
Eine Flash steht fast genauso wie 2.
I mean, how can you argue with 2 Sphinx's Revelations?
Aha.
Like that. I guess we have enough cards. We have enough cards. We have 12 life.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at his hand. It's packed.
He's got 8 cards, and he has Jace Architect of Thought, which should draw him 1 to 4 more cards.
Yeah.
But here's 2 mana and a Precinct Captain
Ich verstehe.
to increase his defensive posture.
And he's got the warp physique if he needs to deal with that Lotless Troll.
Man kann viele ohne ne?
Ooh, that's a blowout block with the Precinct Captain, and then
Die machen also
if Pump Shenanigans happens,
Abrupt Decay takes down the Precinct Captain at the end of the turn.
so Mio picks up a Dead Bridge Goliath.
Oh, Woodlock Crawler's been doing work.
That's what it does.
dann greift
This is definitely the matchup that it comes in. So are we still? Or we're not playing games anymore. We're just gonna block to prevent 3 damage.
Ja, für 4, ne? Für 4, 5, ja, okay.
And warp, yeah,
Yeah, I'm just killing your guy.
yeah. Warp Physique is gonna give it +5, -5, and I don't think Andre Muller has enough creatures to keep it alive.
Oh, look at that. Far and away.
Almost a perfect answer, but there's still a Deathrite Shaman over on the side, just kind of hanging out, not doing much, hoping that it gets forgotten about.
8. Ja, ey, du kriegst 2 Life.
But it does get activated. I believe it removed
Aber nicht ganz.
one of Kai's sorceries, for instance, so he's going to go down to 8. His graveyard's a little,
Kai's gonna really need to deal with that Deathrite Shaman pretty quick.
yeah, 4 more activations, and that's it. He passed up on Sphinx's Revelation. So he's going to be down, he's down to 8 life without any way to gain life right now. Angel Serenity is, you know, pretty good in this situation.
Pretty nice answer,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's 3 creatures in play.
Jetzt einfach mit dem Barholz noch ein bisschen Troll reingehen.
So no play from Kai. He's leaving up 5 mana, so he has far and away mana. So what's the play here?
He can bounce the Dreg Mangler and then away, and then
block.
Muller has to, or Muller and block, but then Muller
Yeah.
has to decide between sacrificing his Varls and his Deathrite Shaman.
I think that is a consideration. So far and away is definitely
Far
happening.
away. Okay, wer ist denn gefahrt?
What's getting fired, Kai? Something. Not sure yet.
Mal der
Dreadmangler.
Und dann musst du noch was wegopfern.
Now you must choose.
Far away ist wohl noch ein bisschen on Stack
Achso,
und
der
so,
ist noch
sonst
on-
fresse ich ihn in Response erstmal und opfer dann den. So ist MTG ja nun nicht. Der ist gefahrt und dann
I mean, there's still opportunities for plenty of responses to happen. Drake Mangler can get sacrificed to Varal's. Deathrite Shaman might want to activate
Der ist
before
fahr,
this
würde ich
happens.
sagen, ne? Das ist eigentlich auch schlecht. Dieser Dude trampelt den nicht, ne? Das ist scheiße alles. Ja, der ist far und der ist away, kann man nichts machen.
So it just happens, and Varal's hits the bin. So
Yeah.
Deathrite Shaman is
He's
very
like,
important.
I'm in on the Deathrite Shaman plan.
Oh, Detention Sphere.
Look at that timing.
Go see the principal right away. Well, not yet. First, Jason's going to look around. Jace Architect of Thought hits play.
Jace, yes. Mal wieder Draw.
Jo.
Devour
Nein, was ist
Flesh,
das?
Hollow Fountain,
Ah.
and another Detention Sphere.
He's
Genau
like,
so
you can
sieht's
have
aus.
land detentions here. What is he gonna take? He might just take that Devour Flesh here.
Du hast
It
Handkarten
fits the
noch?
mana that he
3.
has available right now. Of course, Hollow Fountain allows him to play the Hollow
yeah.
Fountain and then, you know, cast Attention Sphere to get rid of the
Nicht genug schwitzige Stirn, what the hell?
Ich nehme mal das
Deathrite
Ding.
Shaman.
So much
But it looks
Yeah.
like Devour Flesh is the play.
So my new
Dann mach
plan
ich
with
einfach
Jace
das.
is
Dann
to
mach ich
just
mal.
do the opposite of what I think I
Sehr
would
geil,
do.
oder?
Because
then,
that's what Kai would do.
Lass ihn nur faul,
Ich könnte nicht meinen DK nehmen, aber...
so Devour Flesh gets rid of the Deathrite Shaman. It's going to gain Andromeda a couple of life, but that's not really relevant right now because the life total that matters right now is at 8 next to Kai Budde. And there's a Dead Brick Goliath. He's trying to chop it down by 5 points. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to get through the defenses that Kai has right now.
Ja.
Architect of Thought, last activation. Another Detention Sphere and a couple of planes.
And Kai is taking the plane.
You know what? Is Kai just taking the 2 POW? Is this clearly, it's not a card quality
Well, I
tool,
mean,
it's just card advantage.
He gets the Angel of Serenity this way.
And there is Angel Serenity. The very rare get creatures back from my graveyard as well, Angel Serenity.
Dann greift es.
Oh, and then the Woodlock Crawler. Oh,
Du hast Handkarten
I
2,
think
oder?
he's just going to target 2. I don't think Kai has any other cards in his graveyard that he can target, and he doesn't want to give.
certainly doesn't want to potentially give anything back to Andre.
Right. I mean, is it worth considering removing something so that there's no scavenge? Or is that not worth it?
Doppel Dreckmangler? Leider.
2 Dreadmanglers. Good thing Kai did not attack.
And there's the Tension Sphere,
Kannte ich die schon? Nee.
which in all those piles, he never took one of the Detention Spheres in
Yeah.
either of those piles. So Andre Muller just didn't know that he had a Detention Sphere, and he gets to do double duty on both of those Dreadmanglers. You don't see that a lot, especially in Limited, but in Constructed, it's definitely a bigger possibility that it happens. And there's a Precinct Captain follow-up. And that's it. Kai Budde wins this 2-1.
Wow.
Schisselichkeit.
Gut hochrennen auf Engel.
That
war
was
der
pretty
Plan.
awesome.
Total schlechtes Sideboarding.
The
guess
best part
what?
of, I was going to say, the best part of that, Bob Maher and Eric Froelich are
I
still
know.
playing.
We get the shot. As soon as that match is over, that's what we want to see, and we're going to be able to go back there after these messages from Sheldon Menery and from me.
Yes, you can.
There you go.
Woodlock Crawler, MVP.
Well,
And Jace.
a valuable player, the AVP.
Yeah.
Jace did a lot of work too.
Can I have a word for you? Michelle? Can I talk to you for that, right?
I like Kai's deck a lot. I like.
You
I
don't
like
seem
the way,
like the Esper Control
I'm not, but I like the way this is set. I mean, I like the Precinct Captain's main.
Yeah.
You know, I like the sideboard.
Can't wait to try out new Return to Ravnica Constructed and Booster Draft strategies straight from the Pro Tour. Log on to Magic Online and take part of special Block Constructed Spotlight events, Block Constructed 2-man gold queues, and Dragon's Maze limited tournaments all weekend. For more information, visit mtgonline.com.
I would like to go there.
You should visit. We were just there
Yeah.
on the interwebs.
I don't know how this guy is so talkative.
So we're gonna, I believe, hear from Pro Tour Hall of Famer Kai Budde. Okay.
Wait, I think first everyone wants to see my awesome hat.
I do love your hat.
Do you love it?
Yeah.
Or do you love it?
You borrowed that from Mike Long? That's what I heard. That's what Sheldon told me.
Well, Sheldon's a big fat liar. This is a very nice hat.
It is very nice.
Not that Mike Long wouldn't wear a nice hat,
Yeah.
but I don't think he'd let me borrow his nice
Okay.
hats.
All right.
That's all I'm saying. And weirdly, this wasn't a hat that I planned on wearing. It just kind of happened that way.
Interesting.
Maybe I could start a new thing where I wear fancy ball caps. This is actually a cap. It's not even fitted.
Yeah. So what did we just see? We just saw Esper versus Junk.
We did the Battle of Germany, the Battle for Germany, and we're going to be moving to the Froelich Bob Meyer match. But before
I think we're
that,
going to get a chance to hear from Hall of Famer Kai Budde.
Yep,
A rare treat.
with Sheldon Menery. So let's go back down there.
All right, guys, Sheldon Menery down here in the feature match area. I'm with Hall of Famer and Battle of Germany winner. Also, I believe my pre-event pick to win this whole thing, Kai Budde. What got you onto that deck in the first place?
When we started testing, the first two decks we looked at were green-white and the Esper Control deck, and then it turned out that there was nothing like, I don't think Esper is the best deck or anything, but there was nothing that we liked better than it. And I think we have a very good sideboard plan against green creature decks by boarding out our Supreme Verdicts and just boarding in a suite of creatures that are just better than what they have. And that kind of that transformational sideboard kind of sold me.
So it looked like he was going to turn the corner on you in that game, but you just came back with the protection from a green guy. Is that like an MVP from the sideboard?
Yeah, Precinct Captain and I believe it's Woodland Crawler. Basically, the plan is to have some removal spells and some early blockers, and then you ramp up into better creatures, Blood Baron, and then eventually Angel and Esserling, which are just much better than anything that deck has. So if you can just stay above 10 life and survive until you can cast those cards, you will just always win. You can't kill all their creatures because there's so much regeneration, and then they can return them scavenge from the graveyard. So it's not realistic to just kill everything, but it's just easier to trump them with better creatures. And they can't really do anything about Angel of Serenity.
Sure. So is there any deck in the field that you're really, really worried about seeing?
I don't want to play against mono red. We don't have any sideboard cards. There are creatures like High Priest of Penance, and we thought about Frostborn Weird, but we didn't end up running any of those. And if you don't have turn 4 Supreme Verdict, it's a very tough matchup.
Okay, well, good luck the rest of the afternoon. Thanks for talking to us. That's it from the feature match area for round 5. I'm Sheldon Menery. Back to the booth.
All right, so I think we are. Are we not going to see the rest of the Eric Froelich and Bob Meyer?
No,
match?
I see cameras rolling.
Okay, so we are going to go back there.
Literally rolling, not rolling in the metaphorical filmmaking sense.
Okay.
But actually rolling.
But I actually wanted just to make a comment about what Kai Budde was talking about, which is no sideboard for the mono red deck.
Yeah.
You know what? You were comparing it to Dredge.
Yes.
And one of the best strategies against Dredge in the tournament is just hope you don't play it, because you really have to have 12 cards in the sideboard against that. And the mono red deck seems like the same thing.
We call that the please don't please don't please sideboard plan.
Oh, the please don't please don't please?
Please don't please don't please. Oh, hey, and there we go. We get a look at Eric Froelich on your right, and Hall of Famer, nicknamed the Great One, Pro Tour Chicago champion Bob Maher on your left.
And we have quite the board position. When I say quite the board position, I mean the most land and play possible, and just a voice of resurgence on one side, and
Blood Baron of Viscopa on the other side.
And the Blood Baron on the other. There's also a Undercity. Oh, it's the Underworld Connections. Go Return to Ravnica cards. I mean, that was one of the cards I loved drafting, and I knew the name of it back then, and now I know the name of it again. And there's Aetherling, so we probably came just in time, because this game's probably not going to last much longer.
So there you get a look at...
And Eric Froelich is at 4. He is at Aetherling Life.
So, what actually, when did you activate it?
On my turn.
Your turn. So, and you just ended your turn, yes?
I said go, and then
my main phase.
And he has drawn his card already.
Okay, so, and then you remembered that and then you just flipped it, or...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it's a delayed trigger ability with a zone change. So it either goes on the stack immediately. If there's a spell on the stack, then it would either go on the stack immediately or at the beginning of the next step or phase. So right now the stack's empty, so we just put it.
So Bob forgot the trigger of returning his Aetherling at the end of the turn, and now it's going to come back at the end of Eric Froelich's turn.
No, the way that the rule works, it comes, it goes.
Yes.
It goes on the stack immediately whenever they realize that it should have gone on.
Okay.
So that ability just goes on the stack, and then you resolve the stack.
Doesn't matter. Okay,
which means that when you remember it, that's when it comes back.
Okay.
And I think there's warnings all around or something like that.
That is the end of round 5. Round 5 is now
Oh,
over.
Sphinx's Revelations for all. Looks like 7.
Oh,
7
yeah,
life's
so
going to bring him up to 11. Not quite out of Aetherling range.
Yep,
Well, out of it,
Oh, yeah.
winning in 1 turn. But it's still a 2-turn Aetherling clock.
Sure, but he also has the Blood Baron there, so. But it can't really.
Swing through
Yeah, it
Aetherling.
can't really swing.
And it can't really get any life gain from Aetherling blocking it.
Right.
So, effectively blanked, if you will. And was this a main phase? Sphinx's
Oh, yeah, it
Revelation?
was. See Bob reading his cards.
Not a
Yeah, that's fine.
uncommon sight. Probably reading your opponent's cards, reading your own cards, just
Yeah.
making
You're
sure.
totally tapped out, right? Totally.
Right, so Eric Follett's tapped out. He's up to 11 life.
So
Like-
the card Bob was reading was Selesnya Charm. So he's going to be able to get 4 extra damage in on that Aetherling with a
Plus 2, plus 2.
Celestia Charm.
Yep, +2/+2 on the 8th link. So
Unblockable.
now it is a 6/7. So it can deal 12 damage.
It's unblockable.
6, 10, 11.
Yep,
Makes it an 11. There we go.
there we go. The great one does it. Bob Maher wins this match 2-1 over Eric Froelich on the back of, we could say 8th link like everyone else expects us to say.
Selesnya Charm.
Selesnya Charm all the way. MVP, Selesnya Charm. Best card of that round, even though we only saw 1 in the entire round.
Yeah,
Best card.
yeah, hands down.
Hands down, best card. Selesnya Charm.
If I had to go and type up the top 5 cards of round 5,
How many of them would be Selesnya Charm?
all of them.
All of them? I think I put Aetherling at 3.
Okay.
Selesnya Charm, Aetherling. No idea what I Selesnya Charm.
Okay.
Here we are, back to the booth. Rashad Miller, Brian David Marshall. How
Hey,
about
everybody.
that Selesnya Charm?
But that's interesting. I actually thought that was a really interesting play because we get to see the Aetherling. You know, we talked how earlier players had identified being on north of 8 or
Yeah.
north of a multiple of 8,
Right.
representing a certain amount of turns. And in fact, Eric Froelich is just like, all right, I got to tap out. I got to get up over. I got to get up over 8 so I don't die. You know, he taps out. I mean, he doesn't really have much other option. And when he does that,
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like that's probably the first time Bob Maher ever did that. He just saw it.
yeah, absolutely.
Out of nowhere. So, all right, so we're going to send it back to the news desk. And after they talk a little bit about, stuff that you probably care a lot about, you'll come back to us a little bit later. But
we'll be here waiting.
yeah, we'll be here waiting. But right now, let's send it back to the news desk.
Rashad Miller and Brian David Marshall there. I'm with Zach Hill, Rich Hagan here with you at the end of round 5. What a story, Bob Maher coming back to the Pro Tour 5-0. But right now, Zach, we're going to head over to the wall as we watch one of our own in action. It's time for Marshall Law and Marshall Sutcliffe.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Tournament Center. Marshall Sutcliffe here for Marshall Law. Now the last time that I spoke to you, we talked about best case scenario mentality, which is a card evaluation skill, and I think that card evaluation is really important for Limited. That's why I try to focus on it for a lot of these Marshall Law segments, and that's what we're going to focus on here. Now, a little while back, I talked about a card, this is on my podcast, called Debt to the Deathless. It's a card that's in Dragon's Maze. I'm going to bring it up here so you guys can take a look at it. There it is. Now, Debt to the Deathless is actually an uncommon, but it looks a lot like a rare. It's a big, flashy card with 2 double mana symbols. There's an X in the mana cost, and it even has 2 times X down here. And you guys can get a look at what this is if you haven't seen it. It's sorcery, and it's a big life swing potentially. Now, I gave this card a very low rating. I gave it a D- or an F. I said you shouldn't play this card in Limited very often, if ever. Got a lot of backlash for that. And what I wanted to do was I'm going to compare it to another card that you might not think is related to it, but it actually can be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first break down this card, then compare it to the other one, and then we'll kind of see where everything flushes out. So the first thing about this card, and this is what I talked about on the show, is that it's expensive. I mean, the base mana cost is 4, and then you have to pay X on top of that. On top of it, it's also difficult to cast. It has double white and double black in its mana cost. That's not easy to do. You know, it basically limits itself to just a 2-color deck, and even then, you need a bunch of extra mana. Okay, so I have that, that it has difficult color requirements, and that you could maybe get this effect from a cheaper card. Okay, so. Basically, I tried to come up with a baseline scenario for this card, a time in which you expect to be able to cast it. And what I came up with, where I would be happy casting this, is with 7 mana. So that means X equals 3, and hence 6 down here. So they lose 6, we gain 6. I'd be pretty happy. That's a big effect on the board. Sometimes it just kills our opponent. We gain a lot of life. I think most people would be happy. What that means, though, is we need to hit 7 lands. 7 lands. Usually around turn 10 is when you're going to hit 7 lands, if with no other mana acceleration like, you know, key runes or clue stones or anything. So we're talking about a roughly turn 10 play here. That's very late in the game. Some games don't even go to turn 10, and that's a big concern. Now, if we do get to cast for that, sure. It is a very potent effect, and it can do some pretty impressive things to the board state. Okay, here's what I want to do. I want to bring up an old friend of ours, our second slide. And I know this is a significantly different card than Death to the Deathless, but I'm going to attempt to link the two together. So this is Windrake. It's been printed a lot of times. It's just a common. It's 2 and a blue for a flyer. It's 2/2 flyer, okay? Now this card, you know, it's not that exciting. I mean, I don't think a lot of people would look at this and even think anywhere along the same lines as Death to the Deathless, but it actually does have some similarities. So let's take a look at what we could expect sort of on average from a Windrake, okay? First things first, it's a 3-drop. It only costs 3 mana, and we're gonna see it on turn 3 pretty much every time. The chances that you hit your 3rd land drop on turn 3 are very, very high, near 100% in most games. So what that means is this will actually come down on turn 3. Now, it's a 2/2 with flying. Let's think of an average kind of a case for this. Probably get to attack about 3 times with it. Maybe they play a flyer of their own, and then they play a reach creature, something along those lines. So you get in for 6 damage with it, and then after that, it just kind of has to sit there for a while. Okay, so it's sitting there and it's flapping its wings. Then your opponent plays some big bomb, maybe some 6-power guy, some 5/5 flying dragon, something like that, and you decide after they attack with it that you're going to chump block. You're going to put it in front, and you're going to just chump away your Windrake. Okay, now. Honestly, that's a pretty low-case scenario for a Windrake. I mean, it only got to attack 3 times, and on top of it, it just chump blocked. Like, it didn't trade, it didn't double block, it just chump blocked, and that's about it. If you look at it, though, it did 6 damage, and it prevented 5, maybe 6 life. It prevented 6 damage to you, which is really similar to the effect that Death to the Deathless has. Now, the difference, of course, is that this costs 3 and is very easy to cast, and Death to the Deathless costs a lot more and is very, very difficult to cast. You get a similar effect, much, much cheaper. This card's way more efficient, and there's more upside than that too. You can put auras on this. You can equip it. You can double block. You can, you know, chump block like I mentioned. Sometimes it attacks for more than 6. Sometimes it gets in there for 8 or 10, and you can clear the path and make it your win condition. It has a lot. Now, I don't want to take everything away from Death to the Deathless. It's harder to interact with. Counter spells are a lot less common than you see than removal that can kill a Windrake. So, you know, I'm not ignoring that. But what I really want you to do is try to think in these terms. You're comparing 2 very different cards, but if you think about it, you're going to get at least as much as you're going to get from a Death to the Deathless on average from a Windrake than you would from actual Death to the Deathless. So, what I'm trying to say here is every card has its place, okay? Death to the Deathless absolutely has a place. Maybe in Commander, it does say each player. That's an awesome place. And heck, there might even be a limited deck that really wants it, but that's going to be a small percentage of the time. Almost every single time, you'd much rather have an efficient card like Windrake. I hope that this exercise was helpful. I know it's a bit of a stretch going Death to the Deathless to Windrake, but I figure maybe it'll unlock a little bit of how to look at cards. It's helped me a lot, and I certainly hope it helps you get better at Limited and at Magic. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the Tournament Center, signing off. We'll see you next time.